Respondent in this case goes ahead and tells the petitioner that she would like to take the children on a cruise. The petitioner in this case did not consent, and this goes basically to the respondent's ongoing attempts to basically thwart the petitioner in this case's parental role in this case. That's all I'm talking about, is that there was no consent.
The most explosive details in the Anna Kepner cruise ship death haven't come from the FBI. They've come from sworn testimony inside a Florida family courtroom. In a bitter custody battle, Anna's stepmom, Anna Kepner, has been forced to testify under oath about the decisions made on that cruise, including leaving 3 teenagers alone in a single stateroom, missing a dose of prescribed nighttime medication, and the fact that no adult checked on them the night Anna died. Now, that legal fight has returned to the courtroom with dramatic new escalation. Subpoenas have been issued for child welfare records and school files, pulling years of family history into public view. We're breaking down what this new evidence could reveal about the investigation the public isn't seeing. We're on the case, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. Hey guys, real quick, there's a reason On the Case is one of the top shows on all of YouTube, and there's a reason that Morgan & Morgan is America's largest personal injury law firm. They're a firm of more than 1,000 attorneys who have recovered $25 billion from more than 500,000 clients. In the past few months alone, a client in Florida received $12 million when insurance offered just $350,000. In Pennsylvania, another client was awarded $26 million. That's 40 times the insurer's offer. Morgan & Morgan makes it easy to fight for what you deserve. You can even start a claim from your phone. So if you're injured, you can start a claim at forthepeople.com/OTC. You can click the link below or scan the QR code on your screen. Anna Kepner's death on a family cruise tore her family apart. And now that tragedy has ignited a separate, explosive legal fight that's forcing new, uncomfortable truths about this family into the open. It was supposed to be a celebration, a blended family vacation aboard the Carnival cruise ship, the Horizon, leaving port in Miami for a 6-day Caribbean cruise. Instead, when the ship returned to port, Anna Kepner was taken off in a body bag. Now, this hearing today, it's not about filing criminal charges. Not yet. The hearing that we have been following, it's related to a custody battle, separate from the case of Anna Kepner, but several of the people involved overlap, making this relevant to follow as we wait for details on the death investigation. Now, in the quest to determine if a home is safe, we're learning about the potentially chaotic decisions surrounding Anna in her final hours. The FBI has confirmed it's investigating the death of Anna Kepner, an 18-year-old from Titusville, Florida, a varsity cheerleader, someone who had plans after graduating in the spring to go into the U.S. Navy and one day become a member of law enforcement. But as that investigation is continuing by the FBI, they have not released any details publicly. The silence, it's only fueled questions and plenty of online speculation, especially after a Florida medical examiner ruled Anna's death a homicide by mechanical asphyxia. We'll talk about what that means in just a moment. Now, the last hearing in this custody case revealed that 3 teenagers were left alone in a single stateroom. Anna's 16-year-old stepbrother, who is now the suspect in her death, we've learned that he missed, according to Anna's stepmom, a critical medication on the night of Anna's death, a medication called clonidine. It's for insomnia. Also, we learned that no adult checked on the 3 people staying in that stateroom the night that Anna died. We do know that the only 2 people believed to be in the stateroom when Anna died, Anna and that 16-year-old stepbrother. The other person who was staying in the stateroom was Anna's biological brother, but he says reportedly he only heard commotion, potentially an argument from outside the door. Now, we also heard the suspect's own attorney admit in court that criminal charges are actively being considered, saying this.
At this point, we're not sure what the FBI is going to do, whether he's going to be charged federally or whether they're going to turn it over to the state.
And now new reporting has added another layer to this case. For the first time since Anna Kepner's death, her 16-year-old stepbrother, described in court filings as a suspect, has been seen publicly. According to exclusive reporting by the Daily Mail, the teenager has been living quietly at a relative's rural Florida property while federal authorities weigh potential charges. The Daily Mail reports that the boy's whereabouts have been tightly guarded for weeks, protected by a signed affidavit that prevents either parent from revealing his location to anyone other than law enforcement. The agreement reportedly bars either parent from moving him without the other's written consent. Earlier this month, Daily Mail reporters located the teen emerging from seclusion to sell firewood from a roadside stand near a relative's home. Wearing a baseball cap pulled low over his face, the boy was unloading logs from an off-road buggy and selling them in $5 bundles during an unusually cold stretch of weather. When approached by reporters and asked about Anna Kepner's death, the teen reportedly froze and said only, "I'd rather not talk," before taking a business card and speeding away down a dirt driveway. According to the Daily Mail, 2 police cruisers arrived roughly 30 minutes later to monitor the secluded property, though no arrest was made. A source close to Anna's family told the outlet they were furious, questioning why charges had not been filed and expressing frustration that the suspect was, quote, walking around free. The Daily Mail also reports that both parents referred to their son as a suspect in court documents tied to the ongoing custody dispute, with one filing describing Anna's death as a, quote, suspected murder. The outlet further reported that Anna returned to the shared cabin after dinner on November 6th, saying she felt unwell and never left the room again. According to unnamed sources cited by the Daily Mail, her body was discovered the next day by a cabin steward, wrapped in a blanket, covered with life jackets, and concealed under a bed. Those details have not been officially confirmed by the FBI. Today, the hearing reconvened with a new strategy. The stepmom's attorney, Anna Kepner, she has issued subpoenas demanding testimony and records from the Florida Department of Children and Families, as well as staff at Anna Kepner's own high school in Titusville, Florida. Now, these are not some casual requests. The subpoena to DCF, that demands years of records on this family, investigative files, medical notes, potentially going all the way back to 2007. Anna's school has been ordered to turn over attendance sheets and behavior reports for other children in the home. The judge has already denied the stepmom's request to seal these records, meaning everything produced will be aired publicly in open court. So what does child welfare know? What did Anna's teachers see? This is about building a broader picture of the environment that Anna lived in. Now, testimony in the last hearing painted a picture of a frankly volatile household. Anna's older stepbrother, not the suspect in the case, 18-year-old Andrew Hudson, testified that he was once placed in a chokehold and restrained by his mom, Anna Kepner, and Anna's biological dad, Christopher Kepner. Now, this legal maneuver is pulling back the curtain even further on that world, as Anna's family is fighting over the children left behind. And it's all happening now in open court because the judge already denied Anna's stepmom's request to seal these records and keep them secret. Again, I do want to be clear that the custody hearing is separate from the investigation into Anna's death. Now, we're going to break down what this new phase of the hearing means and what it could reveal about the case that has so many questions and so few answers. Now, you might be wondering, how does a cruise ship death lead to subpoenas for teachers and child welfare workers? Well, it all comes back to this one blended family and one room aboard this cruise ship. When 18-year-old Anna Kepner was found dead in her stateroom in early November, the FBI zeroed in on one person. That's at least what we've learned through this custody hearing. And that suspect is Anna's 16-year-old stepbrother. At the time of this recording, he has not been charged. If he's charged, it potentially could be as a minor. So we're not naming him, but if that changes, we will not only update you, we'll tell you a little bit more about what we know about him if he's tried in adult court. Now, Anna's death was ruled a homicide by mechanical asphyxia. Common terms, it was a chokehold. According to sources, Anna's body was found wrapped in a blanket, covered in life jackets, and concealed under a bed. But while that investigation went silent, the legal shockwaves hit fast. The teenage suspect is the son of Anna's stepmom. Her name is Chantel Kepner. Now, Chantel and her ex-husband, whose name's Thomas Hudson, they have been locked in a brutal custody war for more than a year. When Hudson learned their son, who, by the way, is a homicide suspect, had been living in the home with his young daughter, he went straight to court demanding emergency custody. That custody fight about the safety of the living children, it's become a public window into what happened to Anna and the world that she lived in. And that picture from that window, it's deeply conflicting because on one hand you have Anna's grandparents. They were aboard that cruise. They described Anna and her stepbrother, who's now reportedly a suspect, as two peas in a pod. That they had come together in this blended family, but they had this real brother-sister relationship. That was according to an interview they gave to ABC News. But then you have people who say they know Anna Kepner and they know her stepbrother, who's now a suspect. The dad of one of Anna's ex-boyfriends told Inside Edition that the stepbrother was, quote, obsessed with Anna and that Anna was, quote, scared of him. In fact, he claims that at one point, his son witnessed the stepbrother getting on top of Anna during a FaceTime call while she slept. So every time that Chantel Kepner, the stepmom, and her ex-husband, they have this dispute over parenting decisions, and this case becomes public, this custody hearing, it is in some ways helping us understand a little bit more about what potentially happened on the cruise ship. So with the subpoenas filed, the stage was set for today's hearing to begin, and it started with a lengthy opening statement from the attorney for Thomas Hudson. That's Chantel Kepner's ex-husband. Now, remember, the core of this emergency motion is about enforcing a parenting plan. He argues Chantel has systematically kept the children from him for over a year. But in building that case, the attorney points to a pattern of major decisions made without the father's consent or knowledge. Decisions he argues are part of that alienation. And according to his opening, the most glaring example of that pattern is the family cruise in November, the one that ended in tragedy. He told the judge that when Chantel Kepner informed Thomas Hudson that she was taking the children on an international cruise, he explicitly did not consent. Let's go to the courtroom. This is attorney Scott Smith arguing that this lack of consent over a major international trip is part of a broader effort to sideline Thomas Hudson's parenting role.
What happens during the May-ish timeframe, 2025, the respondent in this case goes ahead and tells the petitioner that she would like to take the children on a cruise, in which case it is related to this, on a cruise, right? And then in which case, we're not talking about anything else that was alleged in the prior motion. It's just that the petitioner's case did not consent, and this goes basically to the respondent's ongoing attempts to basically thwart the petitioner in this case's parental role in this case. That's all I'm talking about, is that there was no consent. That's it, nothing about anything else.
The attorney for Chantel Kepner, Millicent Athanasin, presented a very different picture. She argued her client has acted in full compliance with all court orders at every step, and that includes the decision to board the Carnival Horizon. According to this attorney, the parenting plan that both parents signed did not require Thomas Hudson's consent for the trip. It only required notice. Here's her argument.
And the last thing, and I know we're not here to talk about the unfortunate cruise, but when he's saying he's just doing it for consent purposes, if you read the same amended parenting plan that they signed, it clearly says she doesn't need his consent. She's required to give 60 days notice that she's going to take the children out of the country, which she did comport with.
So you have those opposing legal arguments about the rules of the trip, but then the hearing turned to testimony about the environment in that home. Anna's older stepbrother, Andrew Hudson, he's 18 years old. We are not talking about the suspect in Anna's alleged murder, but this 18-year-old took the stand, and his testimony didn't address the cruise directly, but it did paint a stark picture of conflict within the family in the months leading up to it. He described an incident from April of 2024, 7 months before the cruise, when his mom, Chantel Kepner, and then boyfriend, Christopher Kepner, arrived at his high school unannounced to take him to Titusville against his will. Under questioning, he detailed what happened in the car.
So what happened on that day?
I was called up to the front office, and originally I didn't know what was going on, so I came up without my stuff. I realized my mom was there to pick me up, so I had to go back to my classroom and grab my stuff. And when I walked out to the car with them, they asked for me to give them my phone, and they powered off my phone and then told me.
Let me stop there for a second, just so I can break it down. So at the time that you were being called to, was it the principal's office or?
It was to the front office, the main office.
At the time that you were called, did your mother communicate to you at all, hey, the reason why that she was going to the school?
No, sir.
Did you have any knowledge or idea that your mother was going to school to get you on that particular day?
No, sir.
And then when you get there, were you surprised that you saw your mother?
Yes, sir.
Was Christopher Kepner there as well too?
I don't remember if he was in the office at the time, but he was in the car for sure.
And then, so the mother, Chantel, escorted you from the office to Christopher Kepner's vehicle?
Yes. Well, it's her vehicle, but yes.
And then, so what happened once you got in the vehicle?
They asked for my phone, they took my phone, I powered it off, and then,
So your phone did have a Life 360 or tracking device?
yes.
Does a Life 360 or tracking device work if your phone is turned off?
No, not to my knowledge.
And then, so do you have any means to communicate with your father or anyone else about what was going on at that particular moment?
I was going to try to text my dad, but I couldn't because they had my phone. I couldn't communicate with anybody.
Did you want to go with your mother and Christopher Kepner on that day?
No, sir.
Was that against your will?
Yes, sir.
And then, so what happened once you were in the vehicle and then you started to drive?
I gave them my phone, they powered it off. They told me where I was going, that I was going to start school over here, which was against everything we've talked about. I told them no, I wasn't, and when we tried to come to a stop, I tried getting out.
Let me stop you there. So at any time were you trying to harm yourself or commit suicide?
No, sir.
You were just, what was your intention of trying to get out of the vehicle once they came to a stop?
Trying to get out of the vehicle so they couldn't take me away from everything.
And then what did Christopher Kepner do at that point?
They had held me against the seat, and he put his arm around the back of my neck, holding me up against the front seat. She held me there as well.
Was your mother still in the front seat or did she go to the back seat?
At that time, she had crawled to the back seat and started holding me.
And then Christopher Kepner, what exactly did he do with his arm?
He put his arm around my neck, like, pushed me up against the front seat.
So was your head pinned against the front seat?
Yes, sir.
And did you remain conscious the whole time, or did you black out? Or?
I believe I blacked out once or twice on the way over there.
Andrew Hudson identified he as Christopher Kepner, that's Anna's biological dad. This testimony was introduced to show a pattern of behavior and volatility, adding another layer to the father's argument that the home was an unstable environment. It's a picture of family conflict that forms the backdrop to the decisions that were made months later on the Carnival horizon. That will do it for On the Case, presented by Law&Crime. Subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify. I'm Chris Stewart. We'll see you next time.